Hello people. Here I've set up Eldritch Horror. I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview over the setup of the game. I have randomly chosen a Great Old One and I've randomly chosen 2 Investigators. I've also already done everything that needs to be done during setup, so I've spawned a gate. It spawned in Istanbul. I spawned the relevant monster, which is a Shoggoth, which is actually quite a horrific one. It's got toughness 4, so this is going to be really difficult to defeat. I've also created the Mythos deck according to the instructions on the Great Old One's card. And let's look at the Great Old One in a little more detail. First of all, in order to set up the game, you have to set aside 2 ghoul monsters, 2 goat spawn monsters, and 1 dark young monster. I've put them here in a neat little pile, so you can see the dark young, the ghouls, and the goat spawn, and I've put them in a little pile next to Shub Niggurath, so that we can access them easily when we require them. As you can see, the staged approach to the Mythos deck is: in stage 1 we get 1 green card, 2 yellow cards, 1 blue card. Stage 2, 3 green, 2 yellows, 1 blue, and in stage 4 2 greens and 4 yellows and no blue cards. Whenever the comet strikes, we have to spawn 1 monster on a random space. So this is actually quite annoying. Every time the omen track hits, whenever we draw a Mythos card that has this symbol, we actually have to spawn an additional monster, and then if there are 10 or more monsters on the game board, advance doom by 2. If we solve 3 mysteries, we win the game. When Shub Niggurath awakens, we flip this sheet, but we're not going to do this now because I want to keep the suspense, because I don't know what's going to happen when she awakens. And just for your information, I will refer to her as she, because I believe she's a female deity, because she is the goat of the woods, the goat of the mother of the 1,000 young. So yeah. When we have a cultist, what happens is we don't have to do a horror test. They have a toughness of 1 and they require a strength test of -1 in battle. So whenever we draw a cultist and then we get this symbol, we replace the cultist with either a goat spawn or a dark young. I don't know why we set aside the ghouls. We will see what happens probably maybe in the end game. So now we're going to look at our friends who are going to fight this monster. It's actually a group of 2. We will start at the top. I drew them randomly, so this time it's Charlie Kane. He is famous for his influence. He has 4 influence, and this means that he can gain assets quite quickly. He starts with a personal assistant as the starting asset. This personal assistant allows him to gain a +1 on any influence tests, and he also can re-roll 1 die when resolving an influence test. He is also quite a good magic user in terms of he has a lot of sanity, but his lore and will are quite low. So if we want him to cast spells, we will have to enhance those skills. He's not very strong. He's only got 4 life. He has 2 things he can do during his action phase, which are really which are his specialties. He can allow another investigator of his choice to immediately perform 1 additional action, and when he performs an acquire asset action, he can buy whatever he has in terms of results for influences and give it immediately to another Investigator anywhere on the board. So basically, he rolls 5 dice and he can re-roll 1. So he might end up with 5 successes. And then he can buy anything up to the 5 successes, and he can give any cards that he could purchase to somebody else, which is really good because he can basically supply spells and items and allies to other people. So the second investigator is Akachi Onyele. She starts in South Africa, and she's a shaman. Shaman. She has 7 sanity and 5 health. She has a lore of 3, influence of 2, so she's not very good at buying things. She has observation 2, strength 2, and will 4, so she would be very good at casting spells. She starts with the Mist of Relay spell, which allows her that during an encounter phase she can test lore, and if she passes, she may choose an encounter as if there are no monsters on your space. Because what happens is when you enter a space with a monster, you cannot have an encounter until you have defeated the monster. And she also starts with 1 clue, which is very good. In the action phase, she can look at the top 2 gates in the gate stack. She can put 1 gate on the top of the gate stack and the other on the bottom. And when she's close, when she closes a gate during an otherworld encounter, she may move to any space containing a clue or a gate. So basically, let's say we have 2 gates on the board, and she goes through one. She has her encounter. She manages to close the gate. She can decide which gate to close of the 2 or however many there are, or she can say, okay, I close the gate. Or instead of closing the gate, I'm going to move to a space that contains a clue. And I don't know if this means that she will move to the gate, to the clue and close the gate at the same time. Probably not. It just means that she can decide not to close the gate but get a clue instead. There might be reasons for this. So, especially when there are rumors in play. We have also drawn a mystery for Shub Niggurath, and I'm just going to place it here. Nature of the All-Mother. Shub Niggurath naturally corrupts of all life that encounters her. Everywhere her worshippers are found, all living things grow more vicious and feral. When this card enters play, move each clue on the game board to the nearest wilderness space. There is only 1 clue at the beginning of the game, and I have already moved it to the nearest wilderness space. After an investigator resolves a research encounter, so basically encounters the expedition, or this is how I read this, he may spend 1 clue that they gain from that encounter and place that clue on this card. At the end of a Mythos phase, if there are clues on this card equal to the number of investigators, which in our case is 2, we solve this mystery and we draw a new one. And if we solve 3 of these, we win. So I'm going to put it back up here. So now we are actually ready to go. We have everything that we need. Everything is in easy reach of the player, i.e. me. And we will see what happens to our friends when we play the game. Like I said, I played yesterday and I didn't finish because basically five away from eternal damnation, I basically lost one of my investigators to insanity. And so there was no point, and also I made quite a lot of mistakes. Well, not serious errors, but mistakes nonetheless. And so I just decided to break it off, but it was an entertaining 2 hours. So I'm going to use this token, which is the first player token, and I'm going to give it to Charlie Kane, and we are ready for the first round. So I'm going to now change the camera angle so that you can see the whole board, and then we will see what happens. So, Charlie Kane is up here in San Francisco, and he is going to roll his influence to see as his first action if he can get stuff. So basically he has an influence of 4 plus his personal assistant. He gains a +1 on any rolls. So basically he rolls 5 dice. And on a 5 or 6 he's a success. He rolls 1 success, which isn't that many, and we can re-roll 1 die due to his personal assistant, which we do, and we roll a 3. So basically he has 1 success. That's not too many. That's actually quite disappointing considering that this is his special ability. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking to buy stuff, which we're going to hand over to our dear friend Akachi, because she's going to be the one who will be doing most of the fighting. And we have a police ledger, which allows anybody who performs a rest action to attempt to decipher the ledger. And if they pass, they may discard this card to gain 1 clue. That's a very interesting thing. The bullwhip gives them a +1 on combat encounters, and they may also re-roll +1 die when resolving a test during a combat encounter. We're going to buy this because that's a very helpful thing for Akachi. We're going to replace it with a 1 value item called the lantern. Once per round you may roll 1 additional die when resolving a test. Very good. So this is his first action. And as a second action, because you can only perform each action once, so you can only test your influence to buy stuff once. You can only move once. He's not going to move. He's going to stay where he is. And he is going to wait for the encounter phase. So now it's Akachi's turn. And with Akachi, what we're going to be doing is we're going to move her to the heart of Africa, which is where we have where the current expedition is. So she's going to move 1. That's her first action, and then she's going to not do anything except wait for the encounter, and she's going to encounter the expedition. So that's now the action phase. Now we have the encounter phase. So Charlie Kane is going to encounter San Francisco. Here we go. So we draw a card, and the card reads: at the, oh my god, I can't even pronounce this, mining company, you find strange records of a man who could transport himself across tremendous distances. The idea sounds absurd, but some elements of the story ring familiar. You may spend 2 sanity to move to any space of your choice. Which we're not going to do because, you know, San Francisco's a nice place. There is no reason for him to... Oh, actually, no, we are going to spend 2 sanity because he is very sane. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be moving to this space up here where there is a clue, and we're going to collect this clue. So he now has a clue, which is really good, and that was quite nice. So now it's Akachi's encounter phase. She's going to encounter this expedition. So we draw an expedition encounter card in the heart of Africa. And this card has 3 sections. The first section is what happens, the second section is what happens if you're successful, and the last section is what happens if you're not successful. So let's check this out. The whole jungle shakes, and the ground splits beneath your feet. You fall through a crevasse, that's spelled oddly, into a vast subterranean tunnel. Test strength. Now her strength is only 2. Okay, and she doesn't have anything to mitigate this. This is problematic. So she needs a 4 or 5 to succeed. Okay, she rolls a 5 and she rolls a 5, so that's 2 successes. Very good. So she actually manages to succeed. And on a success, what happens to her is you follow the tunnel to the ancient city of Kharne. Retreat Doom by 1, which we're going to do. That's very good because the Doom track, as soon as this Doom track is full and gets to 0, Shub Niggurath awakens. If you have read about Karna, you know to leave quickly. If you fail, you wake up in the jungle with no memory and gain an amnesia condition. So she needs to test her law, which is 3. So we're going to roll 3 dice. 1, 2, 3. And she fails. Can she re-roll anything? No. Okay, so she wakes and she gains an amnesia condition. So we have to find an amnesia condition in the conditions deck. Dead, dark pack, detained, back injury, internal injury, leg injury, paranoia, hallucination, amnesia. It's a madness. When you perform a rest action, you may roll 1 die. On a 5 or 6, discard. When there is a comet, test will, and if you fail, flip this card. Okay, so she's now an amnesiac. So now what happens is we move this expedition to the next expedition slot, which in this case is the pyramids. So we just move it up 1. That's handy. So she can actually just make her way around this place. Which brings us to the end of this round. So now what's happening is we're drawing a Mythos card. Haha. And everybody who's ever played Arkham Horror knows that nothing ever good comes from Mythos cards. It's called The World Shakes. Now what you have to do is you have to first do what it says up here on the card. So following the different symbols, this is what we're going to be doing. First, we're going to move the Doom track by 1. We are going, we have a comet symbol, which means that anything that has a comet symbol on it, that could be, for example, her amnesia, but it's also this monster, has to be activated. So we turn this around and it says, this monster recovers all health when there is a comet. Now, we never hurt this monster, so it doesn't really matter. She needs to test her will for 4. And she passes with a 5 and a 6, so nothing happens to her. And we spawn a gate, so we take the top gate. And it spawns in Tokyo. So we place it here and we spawn 1 monster. So we draw 1 from the cup. And it is a mummy. And this green symbol at the top indicates that when we spawn this monster, something happens. So we flip it over and it says, when this monster is spawned, move it to the pyramids. So it's actually going to be on this space. So it's now on the same space as this expedition. Now, the scope of the tremor was so vast that newspapers in every country reported on the damage done and the tragic destruction of ancient wonders. Event. Each investigator on the active expedition space or an adjacent space loses 2 health and becomes delayed. Then search the expedition encounter deck for each card corresponding to the active expedition and return it to the game box. Then shuffle the expedition encounter deck. So first of all, Akachi loses 2 health, which is not good. So we put them aside. We delay her, which means we flip her over on the side. So the next round, she can only perform 1 action. She can have an encounter, but the only action she has is to actually come back up again. So, Then we remove all cards that have the pyramid symbol from this deck. So we search the deck really quickly, blah, blah. Here's another one. This is actually quite quick because there aren't that many. Yeah, so that's it. Then we shuffle the deck again. The top card is now Antarctica, which actually has a really beautiful image. And we move the expedition counter to Antarctica. So we put all of the pyramids cards back into the box. That's done now. And that is the event over. So, yes. So this is the Mythos card of the day, and we place it underneath the others, but basically face up, because as soon as we have cycled through this deck, the game ends and we lose. So yeah, that's death by running out of cards. So that is the end of the first turn. And now it's Charlie Kane again. And Charlie Kane is going to move. That's his action. And he's also going to buy a ticket. Oh no, actually he's going to test his influence. Rolling 5 dice to see can he go shopping. Because he likes to shop. And, oops. We get 2 successes. And we can reroll 1 die. And it's a 3rd success. So he can actually buy items worth 3. And he's going to buy a 38 revolver, which he's going to give to Akachi. He's going to buy a lantern, and he's going to buy the police ledger. And he's going to give them all, well, he's going to keep the police ledger because it allows him to reroll any test. And, no, sorry. Yeah, this will gain him 1 clue. So he's going to keep this, and he's going to keep the lantern, which allows him once per round to re-roll 1 additional die when resolving a test. Any test, for that matter. So that's good. So that was his 2 actions. So now Akachi stands up. You remember she only has this 1 action that she can perform now. She can't rest either, so she can't even regain health. So now we have the encounter phase and Charlie's going to encounter Arkham. I mean, encountering Arkham is almost like walking into Philip Lovecraft. So basically I need to replace everything in the reserve. So we get fresh fruit and police assistance and holy water. I mean, it's always good to have holy water. You can just basically bless yourself with it. You can actually. Arkham. One of the stained glass windows in the South Church features an angel reading strange runes from a scroll. Oh, sorry. I actually forgot to look at Shub Niggurath and what happens when we have a comet symbol. Spawn 1 monster on a random space. Okay, we're going to do that. In order to do random, what we're going to do is we're going to draw a clue. Check it out. It's Istanbul, and we're just going to place this monster here. Oh, so now Istanbul has 2. Gnof, Kich. And it's also got a, when I spawn, you need to do something. When this monster is spawned, move it to the Himalayas, which are here. Brilliant. Okay. Okay, so good. Yeah, sorry, my oversight. This is really important. You really have to get into the habit of checking every single thing on the board to see does it have a comet symbol. Okay, so in Arkham, he is in the South Church, and he sees that the stained glass windows in the South Church features an angel reading strange runes from a scroll. The runes look familiar to him. Really, because his lore is only 2, I doubt that they look familiar to him. But okay, so let's test lore. And he passes, and that's fine. If you pass, you gain 1 incantation spell. So we go through and this is again different because you have different types of spells, and you then have to look for the right one. So the first one here is actually a ritual. So we're just going to look for the first incantation that comes into it. Ritual, incantation. Clairvoyance spell. During the encounter phase, you may test lore. If you if you pass, you may choose to encounter a clue as if you are on its space, ignoring monsters on that space. It's not too bad. The problem is he only has lore 2, so we might want to increase that. So, that's his encounter. Done with this. We put it under the deck. And now we have Ms. Akachi, and she is going to encounter the Heart of Africa. I've never encountered the Heart of Africa yet. Where is it? Oh, actually it doesn't, sorry, it is a namespace, but it doesn't have a named encounter. So we just draw a wilderness card. So basically then you draw the generic cards, and then you have city, wilderness, sea. Okay, wilderness. You notice a highly venomous spider crawling up your arm. Ugh. You try to gently brush it away, but your fear threatens to break your calm. Test your will. Well, she's a very willful person. Let's see. We pass. If you fail, you move too clumsily and the spider bites you. You lose 1 sanity and gain a poison condition. Okay, well, no, she doesn't get a poison condition, but she doesn't get anything good either. So that one was kind of like, yeah, well, you know. Okay, so that is the end of this turn. Now it's the Mythos phase. Da-da! Nothing good can ever come of this. Eyes everywhere. So first we move the Doom track, red. Let's see if we have any gates that have the red symbol. We don't, in which case, because if we did, we would have to spawn them. Now we have, oh god, it's got this symbol again. Okay, now we have the comet symbol again. So at number 1, we have to check, does anybody on the board have a comet symbol? Gnof Kech does. Each investigator on this space loses 1 health. Well, he's pretty much on his own in the Himalayas, so we don't care. The Shoggoth recovers all health. Well, we haven't even touched the Shoggoth yet. This one doesn't have anything. Shub Niggurath spawns 1 random monster. We really have to start killing monsters. And we have a clue, and it spawns it in Arkham. Brilliant. So maybe next time around this guy can take him out. And it's a deep one. And finally, Ms. Akachi needs to test her will. Otherwise, she will suffer from the amnesia effect. And she has 3 successes. She's fine. She's fine. Event. Each investigator rolls 1 die and resolves the matching effect. So let's roll 1 die first. We're going to roll for Miss Akachi first. And she rolls a 6. No effect. We roll for Mr. Kane. He rolls a 2. He is assaulted and loses 2 health and 2 sanity. Oh my god. That is a nasty effect. God. 2 sanity. And 2 health. He's down to 2 health now. That's really bad. Okay. Now that you know what to look for, you see them all around you. The man pretending to be asleep on the bench, the woman watching you in the reflection of a tobacconist's shop, the trio who have been following you since you left the station. They've been tracking your every move. Eyes everywhere. That's the name of today's Mythos phase. That one sucked. Okay, so this is the end of the turn. Now, before I stop, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to check the deep one. The deep one has toughness 2, bloody blah, and strength -1. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, on his next turn, Charlie will have to move to London and rest before he takes on the deep one. Yeah, and then he would have he would then have to buy stuff. He needs stuff that he can use to kill something. Yeah. And Akachi, she also needs to rest, really. And then move here, rest, and then move. And then encounter this mummy. And then make her way up here, because we need to start getting rid of monsters as well. Okay, so that was this. I hope you are enjoying this game. I have to say it plays very differently from Arkham Horror in terms of, I find it much more streamlined. It's and it plays really quickly as well. I really enjoy it. Yeah, so I'm really happy with this purchase. I also have to look into organizing the game because, as you know, with Fantasy Flight games, they give you nothing in terms of organizing your stuff. So I'll probably, seeing as I also have the Mansions of Madness, I'll probably take the Mansions of Madness stuff and put all of the boards into the main board, into the main box, and then you know, start working on getting little dividers done. Okay, so that's it for today, or for the moment. And yeah, it is, I think, going to be turn 3 then. And it is with our friend Charlie. So talk to you soon. Bye-bye.